Thank you so much for meeting me back here as we resume our live read of Junebug, right? Now, if you haven't grabbed up your copy yet, you can hop on Amazon, right? Amazon.com, there's Kindle, so you can get it instantly so that you can read along, right? And I hope that we're opening some doors for conversation with the young folks in your life, right? As they get ready to maneuver the world of adult humans. Now, outside of a few excursions with the family, I've never been to the city, not by myself. It's big and loud and more than a little intimidating. I've been with the same people all my life. Now, on one hand, I'm naive and innocent, while on the other, I have more life experience than most people my age. And it's an interesting combination to live with. My exposure to the outside world has been at a minimum. Now, there are new people, new sights, and new thoughts everywhere. It's kind of scary, but I love it. Most of all, I love the new thoughts. This fabulous older man from Germany owns a school. I've never met anyone from another country before or spoken to anyone with an accent. I have to work hard to understand. Taken by my innocence and my innate abilities, I've become his prized pupil. I feel like a sculptor working with an ever-moving modality. Now, the challenge of putting in a shape that will hold in spite of the person wearing it, right? Wearable mobile art. I thrive in this environment under his guidance. And I encounter ways of life that I have never even considered before. Number one, homosexuality. I'd heard the words gay and fag thrown around high school by the boys. I thought they were just words. Now here I am. I've met two. And they just up and announced it to everyone. Cherie even wears makeup. Disarming them with my ever-present string of questions, we have become fast friends. I understand in my core the feeling of always living on the fringe of the rest of the world. It seems we operate from the same plane. It's lots of fun to shop with them. I don't have any money, but it's still fun to watch the boys flit around, ogling everything in sight. Often in the girls' department. I love it. Our laughter fills the store. It feels good and helps me forget for a little while. But I still have to go home. While I'm here, I can pretend to be someone else, though, someone who's fun and happy. No one knows me here. They don't know him. This is a dimension of my life where he adds no color whatsoever. Here, I can push it all away and soak up everything around me. I'm here without any of them, even Sam. No one there knows what I'm doing or what I'm thinking. Now, Mr. Hundle has an apprenticeship lined up for me after graduation. One problem, it's in the city, and I really need to be closer to home. Sam's showing signs of my not being around much. He's been sick a lot, and school isn't going so well. Now, Mr. Hundle really thinks it would be a good step for my career. I would have the opportunity to work under someone for a while who has been really successful in the industry. I could learn a lot by being in that environment. There's also a position at home. An established barber who wants to take his place unisex. Now, it isn't a hard decision, really. Sam wins out easily, and I take the job back home. When my new boss went to school, they weren't trained in any of the chemicals of the business, like color and perms. And he's trying to do them anyway, and he's not doing them well. And on one hand, he can really cut hair. He's good. So we have a lot to learn from one another. And I'll be here for Sam. The money I will save on gas will be a bonus too. So I guess the decision is made. Now we get past Christmas without incident. And New Year's Eve is right around the corner, and my friends are trying to talk me into having a party. Mom helps me come up with a plan. You know, the secrets Dad can't know. Now, my parents have plans to go to a party in the city. Mom has a new boss, Harold. and his daughter is having the party. Mom's new job, ironically, is managing the only liquor store in town. Now they're planning to leave around 7, and my guests should arrive around 7:30. Mom's supposed to call before they start their trip home from the city, and that will give me time to clear everyone out and get the place in order so Dad won't know. Now, my friends understand the balancing act that's involved in maneuvering my dad, right? And if we can get away with it, it's going to be worth it. There are 10 or 11 of us, and we have lots of space. You know, we've all been hanging out since high school, and the group's pretty equally divided between girls and guys, and they're really good with Sam. He's kind of become the mascot. It's not always the best environment for him, but we try. He's safe, and he has fun. Right? Now my parents are gone and my friends begin arriving with their coolers. There's a spread of snacks on the counter and I already have the music blaring. And the boys are looking forward to a night of poker and beer and the girls dancing and gossip. I sneak a sip of Sam's drink periodically just to make sure. Now Kenny is downing his share of the beers, right? But we pulled it off. Everyone's having a really good time. Then the phone rings. I look at the clock. It's way too early for Mom to be calling. There's the pit that starts to form in my stomach. I quiet everyone and I pick up the phone. The familiar dread sweeps through me. Mom's words come out in a rush and I'm having trouble understanding. Your dad's on his way home. Get the boys and the guns and get out of there. He wants to kill me. Wait, what? Slow down, Mom. I can't understand what you're saying. June, something terrible has happened. Your father thinks I'm having an affair. He put Frank in the hospital. Frank? Who's Frank? He's just a friend of one of Harold's girls. It doesn't matter, June. Just listen and stop with the questions. She begins to cry now. June, you have to hurry. He just left. He's coming there to get a gun. You have to pack up all the guns and get out of there. Who knows what he might do if he sees you? Now go. The line goes dead. And I'm just left standing there, holding the phone, speechless. My mind is racing. You know, knowing this time would come was one thing, but it actually being here is something completely different. So I gather myself together and put the phone back in its cradle. And adrenaline takes over and I sprint into action. I find Kenny. He's oblivious and doing quite well at the poker table. I whisper the need to speak with him. And typical of Kenny, he has no interest. He's winning. My voice rises, making the underlying terror transparent. Without any further argument, he leaves the table and follows me to my bedroom. I replay the phone call for him. I don't know, Kenny. The booze, the guns, the crazy paper. We might be in for some really big trouble. Crazy paper, what do you mean? So I quickly share the story of how I found the paper and Dad's ramblings of killing us all. Whoa, not good. Where should we go? Kenny's fighting to keep his growing panic at bay as he sits heavily on the edge of the bed. He's shaking his head. I should have just taken him when I had the chance, he mutters. I take a seat beside him and put my arm around his shoulder. It's odd for us. We rarely touch. We sit in mutual silence for a minute. When I feel that we've wasted all the time we dare on sentiment, I breathe deep and begin talking aloud through our options. He'll look at Grandma's first. Yeah, we can't let him go up there like this, Kenny says. I know, she's got 3 little ones up there right now. What if he gets a hold of a gun somehow? We can't put them in the middle of all this. She needs to be able to meet him at the gate with the truth. Grandma won't lie. He knows that. We can't give him a reason to go in the house. She just can't know anything. She can't protect us now anyway. What about Uncle Clarence, Kenny suggests? I don't know. He's pretty scared of Dad. He'll take us in, but he'll also let Dad in. I hate it. But the least likely place would be Uncle Vernon's. He's not intimidated by Dad at all, and He's liable to meet him in the drive with a shotgun himself. Kenny looks at me for a moment, then, do you think he'll let us stay? I'm not sure, but we don't really have any other options that I can see. Dad knows I've been keeping my distance from Vernon, so hopefully their place won't be even on his radar. Now, Kenny knows what a pride-swallowing choice this is for me. He remembers the basement, and he draws me into one of his very rare embraces, twice in just a few minutes. It's funny what fear does. We're on the same team now with a common goal, survival. Vernon and Carol were also at the party, so they should be on their way home too. Now, the first priority is the guns. Do you know where he hides the guns? Kenny nods. Okay. Why don't you get the guns and lock them up in the trunk of my car? And while you're doing that, I'll make up some excuses and get everybody out of here. My friends already feel something in the air and have put the house back in order. They're slipping into their coats when we resurface. I tell them a version of the truth in an effort to push the dwindlers out of the door. Just the bare bones of the story. I'm a terrible liar, so I stick as close to the truth as possible. Right? We need to get moving. I'm thankful to have the condition of the place off our minds at least. Dad doesn't need anything else to be pissed off about. So we're finally alone in the kitchen. Sam's eyes are full of questions, but he's not saying a word. Fear's hanging in the air. Kenny and I lock eyes in understanding. He takes the stairs two at a time and begins the mission of taking charge of the guns. My job is to fill Sam in. I choose my words carefully in an effort to balance his need to know with the fear that I see creeping in his eyes. Now we're going to go stay at Uncle Vernon's tonight, Sam. Dad's kind of freaked out, and we don't want to be here when he gets back. It'll be fun anyway. You guys will have lots of fun playing. He's unconvinced. You know you will. Now go throw some things in a bag. Grab enough for 2 or 3 days, and don't forget your toothbrush, Sam. I give him a hug. Now hurry. We can talk more in the car. He runs off in the direction of his room without a word. How we doing, Kenny? I yell up the stairs. Found him, he yells back. I run up the stairs to help him. Do you have the keys? Again, Kenny nods. After locking the guns safely in the trunk, we hurry back inside to gather some things for ourselves. How long do you think we'll be staying? I told Sam 2 or 3 days. Now, I'm not staying there any longer than that. As we pull out of the drive, Kenny's watching out for Dad. Headlights come around the curve. Like they're coming our way, he yells, hurry, just in case it's him. Is it? I don't know, just hurry. Maybe we should pull in here for a second and see if it comes this way. Kenny says as he's chewing on his bottom lip. We pull off on a small gravel road down the highway a bit and turn off the lights. And we wait. A car whizzes by. We look at each other and breathe. That wasn't him, right? I ask. No, that was just a car. I think we're good. Let's go. Hurry. We inch back onto the highway. Keep the lights off until we can't see the house. We don't want to take any chances just in case, Kenny says anxiously. Vernon's house is way out in the country on a dark gravel road. We'll be able to hear a car coming or see the headlights. We decided it'll be better to park around back. The car will be harder to see from the road. We get there first, so we wait. Each of us deals with our nerves in our own way. Me talking and laughing. Laughter is in the place of tears. That's been a thing for a while. When I get scared or uncomfortable, I laugh. In appropriate times, like now, but there it is. Sam is in constant motion with a constant stream of words. Kenny just sits in silence, not moving a muscle. He's practicing his invisible thing. What do you think they're going to say when they see us? Will they let us stay? People stay out of things like this, you know. If they don't want us to stay, we don't have a choice. We'll just have to go to Grandma's. If so, we'll just have to pray Dad already has been there. I chatter on, no response. There's none expected. We're each in our own bubble. The sound of tires on the gravel, headlights in the distance. The air in the car goes suddenly heavy and sour. Please, God, don't let that be Dad. I say the little prayer over and over in my head as the sounds get closer and we realize it's not Dad's truck. It sounds like Vernon. So we wait just to be sure. We walk up to the house, hand in hand, even Kenny. The adults don't seem too surprised to see us. It's as if they were expecting us. They hurry inside, out of sight. Sam's sent off to play with his cousins for a while, leaving me and Kenny to figure out what the hell's going on. Aunt Carol busies herself and gets us settled. She seats us around the kitchen table and we wait in silence while she makes us cocoa. With a big mug of hot chocolate on the table in front of us, we listen. We sit in silence, cocoa untouched, wide-eyed, as she attempts to recreate the events of the evening, starting at the beginning. We were all having such a good time. She had her place decorated so cute. She still had her tree up. The furniture was kind of pushed back because the dancing had started. Your mom's just sitting on the couch talking with Frank, when out of the blue your dad came up behind him in a rage. His fists were flying, accusing him of sleeping with your mother. She goes on. Frank was blindsided, so your dad is just pounding him. Your mom dives to the floor. Things start flying. Your dad picks up a bottle of wine and throws it at Frank's head. He hit the Christmas tree instead, thank God. Now she paused to take a breath and let it sink in a minute before she continues. Frank finally gets away and is able to get outside. Harold and Vernon are holding your dad back, one on each arm, not sure whether to laugh or cry. He knocks Harold off balance. You know how scrappy your dad is. He breaks free, flies out of the house after Frank, tackles him in the yard. Frank hits his head, blood's everywhere. Your dad has him pinned down. He's on top of him, and he just starts hitting him again, his face. I'm not sure how they finally got him calmed down enough to get Frank to get away, she said, taking another breath. Kenny and I look at each other. Is he okay? I asked softly. Frank, I mean. I think so, Carol says. Looked like maybe a broken jaw and there was a cut on his head, maybe a broken rib or two. He's black and blue for sure. Both eyes were turning before the ambulance left with him. Your mom begged and pleaded with him not to press charges. He said he wouldn't. The pit in my stomach is growing. There's more. Your mom is having an affair, she says while moving some crumbs around on the table. She won't look at us. But it's not Frank. Who is it, Kenny's? His jaw is set. What? I thought I heard her say Harold. Kenny sounds really far away. Harold? Are you kidding? How long? A while. She thinks she loves him. He's married too, Kenny fumes. I'm finally able to speak. Oh God, this really isn't good. His wife's almost as unpredictable as Dad. This could get really, really ugly. My aunt nods in agreement. Her head is down. My fear turns into downright terror. There's potential for someone to lose their life here. He can always buy another gun. Why on earth would she talk this guy Frank into not pressing charges? He can't kill anyone if he's in jail, I say quickly. I don't know, Carol says, her eyes down, her head shaking. Leaning up against the sink, Vernon listens. He doesn't say a word until Carol finishes. Then, we all need to get some sleep. Things always look better in the morning. You know Kenny, he will undoubtedly be calmed down by morning, and then we can just forget about it. Now he shoos us out of the kitchen. I gather up Sam. He wants to sleep with the boys, but I think it best for us to stick together. He doesn't fight with me. Aunt Carol leads us down the stairs to her room in the basement. I take a deep breath, swallow down another dose of pride, and follow her. At least Sam and Kenny are going to be right there with me. And I remember there's a door down there. What if he tries to get in down here? Vernon's going to sleep out in the living room. He'll be able to hear if anybody's coming. Finally, left to ourselves, the boys and I, in silent agreement, crawl into bed exhausted. Who knows what tomorrow's going to bring? We need to be rested, our minds sharp. We're going to have to figure something out. Now, after I begin to hear the rhythmic breathing of the boys' sleep, I have the space to take the situation apart piece by piece. We aren't going to be able to stay here forever. The boys go back to school on Monday. That gives us tomorrow. They can't be yanked from place to place and learn anything. I have to work. Will Mom be home by then? I'm not seeing that as a real possibility with Dad looking to kill her. I'm not going to be under this roof in this basement one more night. It's too much. I make the decision to go home and take our chances. I can't deal with any moves from Vernon on top of all this. This is just tempting fate. Surely things will die down a little when Dad sobers up. One can only hope, right? We need to be in charge of making our own decisions from this point on. To hell with all of them. We have lives too. Everybody seems to forget that part more often than not. It won't really matter if anyone's there anyway. We're used to doing everything on our own. I try to reassure myself, keeping doubt at bay. What about food? I haven't spent much time in the kitchen, but we can make do. There are recipes, right? And Grandma. It might even be better if we all have to worry about it ourselves. They can do their fighting somewhere else. That's it, right? If they leave us alone. I wonder if Dad will be at the house. I'm sure he will be in and out, but his search for them ought to keep him occupied. If he knows where we are, we won't be on his priority list. He'll be consumed with Mom and Harold. It isn't about us right now. We just need to stick together. It's just the three of us now. The game with him won't be much different than it already is. Just avoid him, be quiet, and be invisible. I finally drift off to a fitful sleep. And I wake up early. The boys are still asleep, and I tiptoe quietly up the stairs. I wonder if they're up yet. As I near the top steps, I begin to hear voices. It's Carol and Vernon, and they're talking about us. I open the door just a crack so I can hear a little better. How long are we going to let them stay? I hear Carol ask. Don't know. Have you heard from Mary this morning? They're gossiping over coffee about all this like it's some TV drama or something. Dad didn't show up here last night. That's one good thing. I saw some headlights at about 3 or so, slowed way down, but then drove on by. Not sure if it was him or not. Seems strange for anyone to be out this way late like that. Sounds like everyday conversation. I seem to be enjoying the excitement a little too much. But suddenly the phone rings. Maybe it's Mom. Who else would call at this hour? I hear Carol saying, yeah, they're here. They were here when we got home. Yeah, they can stay for a while, I guess. For real? For real? After a long silence, Carol listening. She warns Mom to be careful and hangs the phone back into its cradle. I hear the click of the plastic. I have to go in. I need more information. I open the door fully, creating some noise. I'm trying to leave the impression of just having arrived on the landing. I heard the phone ring, I say, through a yawn. Did Mom call? Yeah, they're both all right, Carol says. I don't care about him. Right. That flashes across my mind. I just hung up with her. She and Harold are in a cabin somewhere. Your dad has been everywhere looking for them. He's leaving threats all over town. What about us? I hear myself asking. Where does that leave us? My voice trails off, and the two grown-ups look down at the floor, and then there is silence, an uncomfortable, awkward silence. I make my excuses and I leave the room. Does anyone care about what happens to us? Are they all just going to stand around and watch as our world falls apart? We just have to get out of here. I shake the boys awake and matter-of-factly say, we're going home. What? Kenny's the first to respond, rubbing his eyes. It takes him a second to remember where we are and the mess we're in. Mom just talked to Carol, I say while shaking my head. No, I didn't get to talk to her. They don't really want us here, guys. Apparently Dad's been stirring up shit all over town. No one wants to deal with him. They're all afraid, and we can't really blame them. So let's just go home. Kenny pipes up. It is our home. Then Sam. But will he be there? I don't know, Sam. What I do know is that from now on, it's us against them. We're going to start making our own choices, and Lord knows we can do a better job than they are right now. Both boys nod in agreement. What do you think? We're only going to get 1 or 2 nights here at the most anyway. I'd rather take my chances at home. Let's do it. Let's just go home, Kenny agrees. Okay, get your stuff together. We're going to sneak out this door down here. Hopefully, we can get to the car before anyone catches when we're leaving. We make it to the car. We get the engine started. Here we go. And from the rear view mirror, I can see my aunt on the porch waving and yelling for us to come back. It's all for show anyway. It's not like they're going to follow us. Now she can say, you know, I tried to stop them, but they just kept going. We ride home in complete silence, each in our own head, wondering what we'll find. I take the last curve slowly so we can see if anyone's at the house. The drive is empty. We all breathe a sigh of relief. As you all know, this story is not unique. It is not in any way. It's not unique. 1 in 3 to 1 in 5 of our children are being sexually violated and abused in their own homes, right? That's a step beyond being raised in a concentration camp. Because in the concentration camp, there's not the expectation of love. There's not the idea, the collective idea of what a family should look like, what that's supposed to mean, right? You're not depending on your captor for love and support when you're in a concentration camp. So we have to drink that in as a collective, as a society. The value of our children creates the world that we're looking in right now, right? So grab up your copy of Junebug, Amazon, Cherie, Doyen, and I'll look forward to seeing you back here for our next episode. Thanks so much.